morning and welcome back. Here we are live at the White Mule Winery on the high plains of Gasconade County. And what a great day to be high. Rain has came and our drought is officially broken in Charlotte, central Gasconade County, and we've had bucketfuls the last couple of days. I can't give you an official report, but I was at yesterday the gauge was running over, so that's 6 inches. And last night it had to be that much. Some of our gauges didn't get emptied out, but rained and stormed all night long. But we are in good shape right now. Good Lord, for the prayers have been answered without a doubt. An awful lot of rain we had, but we welcome it, and the grass and everything has responded accordingly, so that is all good. It is 79 degrees here this morning at the White Mule, and it is a good day to be on the high plains of Gasconade County because a lot of you are probably dealing with high waters and flooding across the area. I know yesterday morning I needed to go to Washington pretty early, and I got to Rosebud and figured out that Highway 50 was closed. And that takes quite a bit, knowing 50 and knowing that it runs along the high ridges everywhere it goes. But there's a place or two where there was water over the road and it didn't work. So called my son, who had to go to work really early at his meat plant, and I said, "How did you get to work this morning?" He said, "Well, I tried a couple of different ways," and he said, "Finally, I decided that the best way to do was go to New Haven." So that's what I did. That's how I found my way to Washington yesterday. But we also had to go to Mexico yesterday, and everybody got some rain out of this. Some not nearly as much as we got, but we had a good rain across everywhere in central Missouri that anybody that I talked to. So that's all good and welcome. Hey, good for you to be along with us this morning on KTUI 1560 AM, 94.1 FM, or possibly you're watching on Facebook Live if you are. Good to be with you here this morning. We've got a special guest as always. Dr. Jerry Hardy is here this morning, but before we talk about that, we're going to involve a conversation with all of us in regard to the fair, because that's all about kids too, Doctor, and it's a great time for them. It's a great time for everybody that's fair goers, and there was a great turnout. Let's talk about Gracie, or about the Queen first, because we had a Queen contest, as we always do, and we know a lot of the Queen contestants this year. We actually sponsored Peyton Harness, and she ended up winning Miss Congeniality, which is no surprise to us because she works here at the White Mule, and we know that she enjoys to be around people. But our Queen was
Anna Rasmussen,
and we know her very, very well, and what a deserving person. I got to see a little bit her dance routine, and actually all of the talent was spectacular. Dr. Hardy, it's a testimony to you also in regard to listening to these speeches that the kids give, and Peyton, and what she did and how she approached it. It is not easy to talk about what she talked about, which was a suicide in school, but her poise and her delivery was just absolutely awesome.
Our students do an amazing job, and that starts, it starts so young, but that's one thing that this community should take pride in, and the school district, but it starts at home. You know that as well as any of us, is it does start at home with the parents, but then to encourage the kids and to understand how to have the poise and presence to be able to go out and do public speaking in front of hundreds of strangers a lot of times that they don't know. And our kids do such a good job. I was watching, I think it was Mackenzie Eccles who ended up also placing in the
Yes.
Queen contest, who actually wrote a song about the Gascon County R2 Fair. And I was looking at that reel this morning. All of our students, I'm so proud of the work they put in, because what you're seeing at the fair are the same things that we see in the school district side of it. And these young ladies do a tremendous job, just amazing in what they do every day at school. And so you're not seeing a different person at the fair than what you see in everyday life. And that is a testament to our parents and our community.
Yeah, and there's no doubt that these kids are ready. They are ready to face the world. Miss Rasmussen has went through some of life's greatest challenges
Yes.
already, and she has fared very well and has put it behind her and looking forward and very positive. And she was a cancer survivor, and she's just a wonderful gal, and gives such a good testimony on being positive and being who they are, and it is a proud moment. There's no question about it, for all of us. So a good day that it was there. There's no question about it, and congratulations to all who participated in that, and we look forward down the road to seeing these kids excel at even another level. The confidence, Dr. Hardy, there is no way at 18 years old, if you'd have put a microphone in front of me, there's no way that I could deliver anything whatsoever other than stutter and stammer.
I understand. I do. And our kids do a really, really good job of that. But when I said it starts at home. But did you see the young candidates? They were out there all week too. And finally, by the last night, you're seeing the parents and the littles, and they're just tired. They are so tired because they have worked so hard trying to keep their composure all week long, and seeing that and seeing the parents go through that with these kids, it gives them a little bit of grit. And that starts with even our little contestants all the way up to our older contestants. I know on Saturday night I saw Peyton, and I think it was Mackenzie Eccles and Anna. They were all back there before Home Free performed, and they were all dancing and with each other and just having a good time and showing what the community's about. But even on them, that it's a long week. We talked about working out there at the fair and working the gate, working the food stands. As adults, it was hot, and these little contestants all the way up to our kids who show the livestock and work on, they've put so much work into the animals that they're showing, and they've done really well. But they're out there all week too, taking care of the animals and cleaning up, and they really work hard throughout the fair, and they do an amazing job. But that doesn't just start fair week. The preparation starts months and months in advance.
Way early, but what a testimony to our area, what a testimony to the parents. It puts, you got to go away from the fair being positive about where we are and what we're doing and how we're going about it, because it absolutely proves time and time again. When I look, what did you tell me the auction brought? $447,000 is what the 4-H and FFA and youth auction brought in. That commitment, back to our kids and back to our community, it comes from the businesses, the grandparents sometimes, everybody involved with that. And it takes so much. It takes so much for kids to develop those skill sets that it needs to take care of a ham or a sheep or a pig or a steer. It's just a big, big, big commitment, and it's just so nice to see money go back in a big way, you know what I'm saying, to those kids that participated. And it's all involved with FFA,
Yes.
you know, and 4-H, and that's the leadership there at every level, whether it be parent or whether it be ag teachers. It just takes 100% commitment in, and it's obvious on show day, when fair day, and not only that, Sally, when you go through the buildings, you know what I'm saying, and you look at all the other projects that, you know, that kids are doing, you know, the sowing, the raising crops or the fruit and vegetables, the woodworking things, the art.
Yes.
We can go on. It's awesome.
We can. It is awesome. And that's one thing that I'm very thankful for with our schools and our community is that our kids are very diverse in their interest. And you may have a student who raises livestock also be an amazing artist. And they are given those opportunities from the time they walk in the door. And we have very, very talented students.
There's no doubt in it, and it's because they got grassroots support across the board, and the core of that is family.
Yes.
You know, the core of that is family, and in a lot of situations it's faith, or most situations it's faith also. So it is a good testimony to who we are and what we do. What do you like best about the fair, Grace?
Didn't get to go as much as I wanted, but definitely was not the heat. I always I didn't get to see any of the showing, but that's usually my favorite part. Going to the fair is watching the kids show their animals.
Well, you were working in the food stand at that point for the church, and you know that is an important part. And then we did the food stand on White Mule, and my thanks to all of the volunteers. And we had a great showing. Give Mom and I time to go to the get out of there and go watch. The contest, the Queen contest for a little while. We've never been able to do that before, but these are also kids. Mm-hmm. These are, if you look around, these are also your kids. Yes. That work here, and it's just pretty exciting to me. Even though I talked to our newest employee, you know what I'm saying, and thinking. I'm not the easiest person to work for because I'm an old German, and, getting close to 70, you get set in your ways, and, you have high expectations of everybody, and but, I told him yesterday, we went to Mexico. I had 4 guys with me. We picked up some wine equipment, and, I just talked with them and, said, realize that my patients, I know that I've had 25 boys, you know what I'm saying, that we have put in and around, you know what I'm saying, either the vineyard or the farm or whatever. And, I said, you happen to be, a brand new, so be patient with me too, you know what I'm saying, because I don't remember exactly what we've talked about before and whatever, and I hope he is, and he is. So anyway, it is all good, and it is all about the kids. It's all about the kids and our community and who we are. So you've got a lot going on here too, because why are we talking about school already? And it's because the fair is over now.
The fair is over. When the fair is over, the school year begins. Teachers come back to work on August the 1st. We are getting ready to go. Just yesterday, we had our first annual Administrator Safety Summit, and our administrative team, along with our school resource officer, we met and we discussed safety plans for the school, what our procedures are, what legally, what our legal obligations are, but also what can we do to make sure that our grounds and campuses are safe for kids, what our our action plans, how are we getting that set up? This is the first time we've ever done that, but over the summer, Dr. Johnson and I work 12 months out of the year, and several days of that this year were safety summits by the FBI and the Secret Service and Homeland Security, because that is our number one priority, is the safety and security of students. And every day we have so many different rules and policies and procedures, but we are always looking for, is there something more that we need to do to make sure that our kids are safe? Thank you very much. And that was an all-day event, and then we ended up talking about, we're getting a new student information system, so parents will see that it looks a little bit different when they're enrolling their kids online this year, how they access grades, attendance, and so that's all rolling out because we had used the Tyler SIS for as many years as we can probably remember, and they sold that company out to what's called Infinite Campus. So parents will see a little bit of a different format using Infinite Campus. I think they're going to like it a little more. It seems more easily to access and to navigate. So I do think that's going to be a positive, but with any new system, that's something we have to work on. That also gave us time last night. Dr. Johnson and I, before school started, and this started with prior administration, we do an administrative barbecue, and we invite the families of our administrators to come together because we are one team, and that's our motto for this year for our entire district, is one team. And when we look at that, that's with our activities, that's with our athletics, that's with our academics. We are all working towards the same goal, and we've seen the kids all summer, whether it be our band kids, our cross-country kids. I just saw them running past the window this morning. The rain's coming down, and those cross-country kids are running. Our softball, volleyball, football kids, they've all had their camps. Basketball has had their camp. We offer camps in the summer for the younger Dutchmen that are coming up. So we have all of our activities offering camps to the younger students, but then our athletes are also working all summer long.
You talked about meeting with Homeland Security and security issues that are involved with school, and I'm going to go back to when I was there, but I'll even go and say that even 20 years ago, who would have thought that your job as an administrator in our school systems would include the security across the purview that it does today. I mean, the most recent thing is the COVID situation, and what do you do and how do you handle that for the safety of our kids and everybody involved, and what decisions do you make in regard to that? But then we have all of the the school shootings, what I'm saying, and those things. I hate to be that blunt, but that's exactly what it is, and we got to be aware of that. And we prayed that it would never happen, but we have an obligation. You have an obligation, to make sure you do your due diligence. To be able to read those situations and do everything we possibly can as a community, to avoid those kind of situations. An awesome, situation. There's no question about it. And I'm not laying it all at your table. Don't misunderstand me. But I know it's a weighty thing, but it is. And then the cyber stuff. The cyber security and what we do here. We don't want our kids involved in everything that's going on there. So how do we even track that? And in a world that we all want to talk about freedom and we all want to talk about our liberties, you've got to infringe upon some of those particular things at a young age.
Yes.
In order to keep those things and those kids safe. So, wow.
Well, and one thing, and this is new for our district, last year you'll remember that middle school put a ban on cell phones during the school day. This year that's moved up to high school. It's a little bit different. It looks a little different at high school as those kids are a little bit older, but they're not able to have their cellular devices out in class. They're not able to have their AirPods in their ears for listening. If they want to listen, they have to use school devices. But one
Good
thing
for you.
that's
Good
it's
for
going to be
you.
new, and there's going to be, you know, if administrators go in, we have calculators in math classes. So saying that you need to use the calculator on your phone, that's we have the tools for that. We have computers if you need to look something up. So phones aren't going to be able to be out. Where that also has kids to communicate more with each other, as far as face-to-face, peer-to-peer interaction. They can have them out in the commons at lunch and in between classes. But as far as any other time during the day, they're not going to have those out because there is so much cyberbullying going on. Kids are smart. They're not getting on the Wi-Fi networks to where the school can block that content. They're just using their own
Right.
Wi-Fi. They're not hooking into the schools. And so that's just another way to keep kids safe. I saw on social media, I think it was yesterday, one of the sheriff's departments put out, and it was in Missouri, but put out a guide, a Snapchat guide for parents, just explaining all of the things kids see on Snapchat and how to monitor it. And it was even encouraging parents to say, hey, don't let your kid have access to those apps, because that is where so much of the cyberbullying and stuff goes on. And that's the silent bullying that you don't always see and that you don't always know about. Bullying is, as you know, one of the leading causes of youth suicide. And some of the other violent activities that you see. And so,
Well, you got sexual, situations and predators and.
bless you. Bless you. Well, and one of the things that they're not talking about now, and this is something Homeland Security brought up, is called sextortion. And what they're doing is they'll find a picture, could be on a Facebook profile or something of that, and they can, using AI or whatever, they can modify that picture to make it look like a student. And then they send that student a message over Snapchat saying, I'm going to show this to your parent if you don't send me. And they start small amounts like $5, something like that. And then it's not even the student's body on this picture, but the students aren't aware that they need to say no. Well, Homeland Security can only monitor what happens in the United States, and these things are happening overseas, and so there's no jurisdiction over there. And so that's something that even
Wow.
in board policy that we have to talk about with students. That's one of the things this year that has been added, is to educate students on being extorted through people modifying pictures and demanding money from students, because it's gotten to where it's very traumatizing for kids, and it's costing
Sure.
kids, because they don't know better and they are sending these funds.
Right before I left, we had Karen and I had a conversation because, Thursdays is, Karen babysits several days a week, but this was, this Thursday she takes care of, Gussie's and Gracie's kids, which is Weston is going to be 5 here shortly, and Grandma allows him to use the phone for a very short period of time because, we talked about it. I don't know if you get to use it at home, very much, but at Grandma's it's a little bit, it's different.
It is.
You know what I'm saying? We try to put it in a box and hold it, but I can just tell, and, in the last 2-3 months this summer, how addictive that he gets on that thing, because he don't want to give it up
No.
after 15 minutes. You know what I'm saying? And it's all games and whatever that he's playing, and I get all of that. But I just said to Karen this morning when I was, I said, how do we manage this? We will manage that, but it is the important tool that everything is available on. They have to know how to use all of these elements, because that's what the future appears to be. So how do we give them exposure at a pretty young age to, be enthralled by what they can all do there, but still being able to manage that as grandparents, as parents? Tell me. I don't know.
Well,
That's education, right?
Well, and what I have to say, you actually hit the nail on the head. I have young grandkids also.
Yeah, you
and
do.
They love technology and they love to look at it. But one thing that we learned, my mother was keeping our oldest grandchild and would let her use her phone. Well, what we noticed is her sleep patterns had started changing. And as they said, okay, let's cut down on the technology. And I mean, it was just looking at photos, YouTube Kids, not anything bad.
Right.
And they just took the technology away and the sleep returned back to normal. And so the limitations, she's limited to how long she can use that device. The television is different for whatever reason than that cell phone. And so even on our
They
devices,
can control.
Yes.
That's got to be what it is. I mean, I control
Yes.
the switcher, but
and they know how to swipe at
Oh.
a very young age. They are loving to push those buttons on those cell phones.
they're in control of that, and they understand what control is and how to go about it at that. So it's a
And
dilemma.
as grandparents, it's hard to say no sometimes. I understand. I have that, but we do.
But
the
I'm
limitation
getting
is-
better at it.
But I think that's the best thing is just knowing that you have those limitations and that you realize they do scream when you take them away and they don't like it.
It's there's an awful lot of education that's going to have to occur, in regard to how to go about keeping Pandora in its box, because AI, I can't even imagine. You've mentioned a few things that they're doing, but I can't imagine a world out here that, heck, we can't decipher as adults what we hear, what's truth and what's not. How do we expect kids, that, are in any age to be able to know what's real and what's not? And that's what it's all about, the truth.
Yes.
You can make up things and, heaven forbid, it just rotting of our entire culture if we don't learn how to disseminate truth.
Yes, absolutely.
How do we do it? I don't know.
And it gets harder when we talk about AI. There's a new one out there called ChatGPT, and we're aware of it at school, which is really good. But you just download this app, and we had a PD day on this back in March, and so my husband tried it out. And you just type into the ChatGPT, give me lesson plans on career tech. And it wrote the entire lesson plan to the standards, which was really good because it could be a good thing if you know how to use it, because he could take those lesson plans because they matched the standards, but then he was able to spend additional time setting up workstations on 8 different concepts in one class period. That's a great way to use that tool because the lesson plan's there, it meets all those standards, and then you have time to create workspaces. But you can also say, write me a thesis over whatever topic if you're a student, and it will write that thesis for you. So as teachers, we have to say, okay, here is the thesis that ChatGPT puts out. What would you agree with? What would you disagree with? And so that's where we're having to, the kids are going to use the tools. So we have to recognize that, and we have to figure out how we're going to go with that to make them think more critically. Because if we just say, well, ChatGPT did it, this is all of the information, is that all the learning that's ever going to occur in the world? There's got to be more learning out there.
I would think so. There is no doubt. And COVID has brought forth a whole nother set of challenges because, I'm sure there's some kids that have, and a lot of kids, I hope, that have kept up, what I'm saying, where they need to be academically. Some of them that really wary on the computer at a certain age has probably surpassed a few of them where they might have been, you know what I'm saying, at least in school, because they figured, you know, a lot of things out. But as a whole, our, you know, our academic levels have not risen, you know, across this nation, and that's the big picture here. They've dropped in some places substantially, and, you know, a lot have dropped out of school, you know what I'm saying,
Yes.
because they got used to not going and not having that discipline and structure. So what a quandary, you know. How do we manage this? What do we do at this juncture? It's something we have to deal with.
It really is, and I know that we say, and you'll hear us talk about, okay, we're at a normal school year, but we have to realize the learning loss that still went on during COVID, and you're going to see that for years, especially in those kids who were in the early elementary years that were in first grade, second grade, that missed those foundational ELA and math skills. That's going to impact them for years and years to come, and so you're going to see that. We are working on trying to combat that, looking at more direct instruction, more research-based strategies, because you can give them a computer and they can look up whatever they want to, but are they truly learning the content? And so that is something that we're working on, and trying to find those skills that they may have missed and trying to build up on those foundations. But we have to, you know, kids will meet the expectations we set for them, but when you look at the COVID crisis, there's also another crisis going on nationally in education, and that's with the teacher shortage. And we have seen that in our district, which luckily all of our positions are filled, but we have neighboring districts that still don't have all of their teaching positions filled. And when we look at that, what is happening is we have teachers who are more rookie teachers just coming in out of the classroom and providing the professional development for them that they may not have had. And then during COVID, and I'm sure you've all heard, some of our colleges and universities on those programs, the college kids that were getting their educations were virtual also. And so it's a challenge that we are trying to combat and trying to do the best we can nationally to create those. But we have critical shortage teachers that are coming back this year. We have two that have retired, and we are very thankful for them. The legislators just agreed to let them come back for 4 years versus 2 years. And like I said, we have two this year that are coming back, and never did I think we would have a critical shortage in education, but at this time we do, and that's a national occurrence. But we are lucky at Gascony County R2 to have those positions filled and to offer that high quality professional development.
I was talking with at the fair actually to one of our kids, you know what I'm saying, that we're both involved with, you know, showing livestock, and I was asking her, you know, and I knew kind of, because I've talked with her before, kind of what her intentions were, where she was going to go to school, and, you know, a very great high achiever, there's no question about it at all, a great gal, and got so much potential, you know. And she said, well, I've always looked at nursing, you know, thinking that that's where I want to go. Well, I mean, first of all, we all make decisions and we all change our mind.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying, in regard to how we do it. But with so much information being out there available to them, you know, she basically said that her mind is changing to some degree, because the medical field, as all of our fields, have changed so significantly in the last short period of time. You know, there used to not be, you know, it was a science, you know what I'm saying, and nobody questioned the science, or nobody really questioned, and I'm not saying it's bad to question that at all, you know, but her decision was teetering on, you know, how political that all of these different things have become, from the education part, and the colleges, and my cardiologist had told me that. Charlie, you wouldn't believe what these new doctors are being taught and how they're going about it with all of these issues that are out there. So anyway, her thought was, maybe I'm going to do something in agriculture because I like that, but there's so much good and so much negative, what I'm saying, that comes out of all of this technology. Yesterday we were coming home and we'd taken down some chillers, what I'm saying, and I knew glycol was fine,
Right.
Otherwise they wouldn't put it in wine. And one of the kids asked me, how is this dangerous? And I said, let's Google it, what I'm saying. And of course, there was a whole lot of what kind it was and whatever, but what we're dealing with was not, but it was good to have, that information and that intellect to look that up in regard to what we were dealing with and how it was. How do you get the stickiness off your hands, and is it dangerous? Well, it's good stuff.
Yes, yes. And kids know where to look for the information, but when you go into knowing where to look, there's a lot more out there. Like you said, how do you keep it in the
That
box?
little microphone on my iPhone and my iPad.
When it starts talking,
She don't
to you,
understand me sometimes.
or she'll answer a question that she was not involved in that conversation. That's always a fun one, also.
Well, it is really interesting times, and it's challenging times without a doubt. But we're adapting to it. We're understanding it. We will prevail in the long run if we can do one thing, and that is to know what's true and what's not.
Yes.
If we can, figure that out, then we're going to survive all of this, and maybe our AI will help us with that. I don't know. It'll be political, I guarantee you that.
It will be political. And when you talked about the students saying everything's political, it is. And even, education has become at the political forefront. Every session, there's always something political, and we're down till the
You
very
mean you have to
last
deal
day
with
in
parents
May.
that are from difficult political persuasions?
Well, we
A
do.
little-
And then the lawmakers,
That's
the
really-
lawmakers have different opinions and ideas of what's best for education. And so that also goes into the bag of things that we have to look at in education and what we have to do.
Well, thank you for going through that, and your school board is your family there, and your teachers. Goodness, you have to be totally aware and totally prepared, and nothing can be unsaid in your circles. You have, because you got to say it all to be trusted. You know
Yes.
what I'm saying, and you got to be open. With those, and it's got to be tough. I mean, when you're sitting down there with the school board, and you're looking at the facts that you have to deliver to them, it's not always pretty, is it?
It's not, and we have an amazing Board of Education that they take all of the information and they make really good decisions with the information that we have. October the 21st, we will have our first annual community forum with the Board of Education. It'll be from 1 to 3. We will host that at the high school. But we will be talking about taxes, bonds, how those things work. We will also have some other stakeholders coming in and helping to talk to the community about how those things are. But we're going to have a showcase of our students, because at the end of the day, that is what running bonds is about. It's not about the, I don't know, it's about the kids. At the end of the day, it's about building things for them that are going to last hundreds of years.
It's about the future.
And not tomorrow. And without a bond, some of those things cannot get done. And so we will have a community forum for
Good.
the community to come in. It'll be an annual thing, but this year will be October 21st. And then open house is coming up for our parents. So that will be the week of the August the 15th through the 17th. We have OES will be August 15th from 5 to 6:30. We have high school
Those are the open house dates?
Yes,
we're talking-
open
okay,
house.
Yes.
August the 16th for, from 3 to 6 at middle school and high school. And then October the 17th will be for Gerald from 6 to 8. And then there's a fall parent meeting for parents of athletes, and that will be at 6 p.m. at the high school. So those are our back to school kickoffs as you.
You know, most of our parents in our area don't need, you know, a lecture in regard to how important it is for the kid. But there are those of us, or those that do, you know, need to be aware of this, you know, what's going on, and to get more involved with, you know, the classroom to a big degree, and what's happening and what's exposed. And these open houses are lay down a comfortable way to gain more information and to build relationships, so this trust is, you know, more apparent, you know what I'm saying, between, you know, individuals that have to make the decisions and what involvement in that, and the kids and the students and the parents. So really, really important. You know, bring a whatever opinion and whatever thoughts you have, and deliver those in a way that is cordial. Yes. And I'll guarantee that you will be cordially, you know, handled, or you know, accepted, and they'll help you try to find the answers, because, hate to tell you, but nobody's got all the right answers.
No. And in the end, with our parents, we want the same outcome for their kids as they do, because at the end of the day, it's about that student and doing what's best for that kid. And that's one thing that we have, that's a common bond with the parents and the school district, is we do want what's best for your kid. One thing we're trying to do since post-COVID, because we kind of talked COVID, parents, you know, we closed the buildings down to keep kids safe and to keep the spread of COVID down, but we are trying to allow parents back in. But we talked about the safety aspect
Right.
of it. That is our number one concern. So this year we're putting in what's called Kid Account. So when you go in, you'll check in at the offices, they'll scan your driver's license, and it will make sure that you're not a risk to any of our kids. So we are going to ask our parents, when they come into our buildings, they will have to go through a screening just to make sure that it's safe for them to be around. And then another thing that we didn't have to do in the past, but now there are statutes. If you're a school volunteer, all of the, I think it's 7 hours of videos that we have to do a year. If you're a parent volunteer that is there, if you volunteer to help coach, or if you're in the classroom and you're planning on being there on a regular basis, our volunteers now legally have to go through all of that 7 hours of watching those training videos, and the system keeps up with it. And that way we're just trying to make sure that our kids are safe, and we do have a legal responsibility to require those things happen.
Hey, I'm sorry I got the sneezes today, but I certainly do, and you know, I know you've heard me throughout the show here, but got another one coming on, Grace, so tell us what else.
I will do that. There's going to be an evening out at the Seasons of Faith. Doors will open at 5:30, dinner served at 6. That is Thursday, August 10th. Seasons of Faith Fellowship Church in Owensville. All proceed benefits go to the Owensville Senior Center. $35 a ticket. They will have a live and silent auction and dessert auction as well. This Friday night at the White Mule, we will be serving our steaks, Italian cheesy chicken, beef kebabs, grilled shrimp, and country fried steak from 5 until 8:30. Saturday, we will have pizza, wings, and hamburgers from noon until 5, and then our steak dinners after that until 8:30. Saturday, we are also having a luau here at the winery. Dinner will be served from 5 until 7, buffet style, $25 per person. You'll pay at the door to eat, $5 for just regular admission if you want to come dance. We'll have a DJ starting at 7 o'clock, and we'll have games and wear your best luau outfit.
What are we having for dinner at the luau?
We're having a shrimp boil.
Huh.
Pretty excited for that. Something different, and then just a salad and roll. So make your reservations if you plan on coming for dinner. Otherwise, just pay at the door whenever you get here. Should be a great time.
Reservations are good.
For dinner, yep. You don't need to make reservations if you plan on just coming and hanging out later. But dinner's served from 5 until 7. We will take. You don't have to have reservations though if you want to eat. If you want to walk in and eat, that's fine too.
Yeah, but it would be nice to have some idea
Right.
how many shrimp I have to go
Catch.
get.
Yeah, and clean.
Nah.
This Sunday we will have our fried chicken and roast beef from 11 until 3:30, all you can eat. And then I believe the Washington Town and Country Fair is going on this weekend, and I think that's going on until Sunday. So
It is, and you know, that's also covered that area. You know, they have a huge fair, and you know, theirs are all also involved with a lot of kids. You know, 4-H FFA sale and those particular things. It's Saturday, which we usually try to get to, and but their entertainment is pretty awesome also. So check it out. Look what's going on, and you know, they've I don't know how much rain they had, you know, but I do recall several times in the past few years where they've had an awful lot of rain during their fair too. So, you know, take that into consideration, you know, as you go, and it's a great you know, there's so many activities there that's a great place to go to and enjoy that community.
Yes.
So, it's about sports time, right?
It is about sports time.
You know, and for football, that's good for me, you know, because I kind of watch that. I tried to really get in this year to watching the Cardinals more because, you know, I find myself not being able to speak very intelligently about anything, but you know, the Cardinals, and I enjoy watching a game, you know, but when I start bringing up the Cardinals, people know so much more about baseball and the players and their batting averages and the pitching than I do. So this was the year that I was, Dr. Jerry, that I was going to study my lesson a little bit better and watch a lot more games. It's been a challenge.
I was gonna say that's been a challenging year. I'm kind of with you. My grandmother was an amazing Cardinals fan, and she would listen to them on the radio. And she was blind, so she couldn't watch them on TV. So she would listen on the radio.
I bet she
could
lived
tell
it,
you-
didn't she?
She did. I mean, you would walk over and you did not interrupt her. You might as well not go during a Cardinals game. But so I'm kind of like you, but I do know my son-in-law is a diehard Cardinals fan, and it's been a tough year.
I know that you can gain new skills and new insight and have new enjoyment, you know, as you get older. Because my mother, who was 97 years old, she never watched a game or had any sports inclination at all until she probably turned, well, until the kids, you know, watching the grandkids kind of got, you know, out of her purview. And you know what? She started keeping up with the Cardinals in her 80s and knew it. You know, right, great. She always listened to the radio, which was her preferred way of doing it. And you know, I find myself listening on the radio an awful lot because I enjoy that part of the mind and you know, listening to what's going on too. But so she was kind of an inspiration.
Yes.
You know, to me to start doing it, but I'll keep working on it, Ma. I know you're, I know you're there, and you know the players, and you know Goldsmith, and you know Wainwright, and all of the players, and you know, so it'll come around, you know. So football starts next week. Practice because I got boys here that said. This is, what do they call it, dead week?
Dead week. It is dead week, meaning that they do not come on campus. But
so look around.
Yeah.
Look out the window and see everybody.
Well, I've seen some come in the back door today, and So that's really good. August 18th is the Jamboree. It is in Owensville this year. So
Awesome.
you can get a preview of some surrounding teams, but that
Is that like Rolla? I don't know who all does it. Or
usually, we play some Eldon, Jeff
Okay,
City.
okay.
Some of those teams will come in out for the Jamboree. I'm not sure exactly who all
I
we have on the
understand.
lineup this year, but that's on the 18th. So you can come out and get a preview of what our boys are going to look like. They have been working hard. Then our first home game is not until September the 8th. So if you want to see them before September the 8th, come out to the Jamboree. Then we have softball September the 5th. That's their first home game. And then volleyball's first home game is September the 14th. And I think cross country's first meet is on the 19th, is their first meet. So you've seen those kids out a lot this summer, I'm sure. If you've been out in town, you've seen cross country running, and you've seen a lot of these student athletes working. And they not only do they excel academically, but they also are amazing athletes.
It's you got always something going on. There's always something to watch and be interested in our two schools and the sports, and it kind of brings everybody together around a positive purpose, and we all appreciate that. You indicated that the Jamboree is coming. I just for the listeners, FYI, I won't be at that game because my wife and my sister-in-law has booked us to go to Alaska. The 15th or the 16th we're leaving for 2 weeks. I'm not sure that...
What are you going to do for 2 weeks?
I don't know, but they've got it all planned out. It's a cruise, and it's a train ride, and it's land and sea. And
fun.
I know it will be. I absolutely know it will be, but I'm going to leave a lot in Gracie's hands here because
I will be expecting lots of phone calls.
don't expect it. I don't know how I'm going to turn
That's
mine
fine.
off. No, I won't do that. But anyway, for the audience, we won't. But we will be back here next week, and have a guest and talk about those things or whatever. Hey, I appreciate you, Doctor.
Thank you.
Dr. Hardy, 4 years in?
This is starting my 3rd year as superintendent, but 8 years in.
Wow.
Yes, we've been here for 8 years. It's a great.
I remember when you come.
Yes, and I now have grandkids in the district that they're small, but it's.
And tell me that's not the best thing you did.
It is the best thing ever. If we could just get our daughter and son-in-law to move up here, it would be perfect.
Keep working on it.
Yes.
We got another one coming here too, so that'll be a November, maybe, right?
Yep. It's the plan.
So we're looking forward to, another one. That'll be number 10, and talk with Sawyer about her all the time, and she's excited.
She better be. Ready or not.
Hey, God bless you. We will be back next week. Watch the lying areas on, as you're commuting here. There's certainly some flooding going on, so be careful. And good Lord willing, we will see you back next week.
Only one. No matter what you choose, make it meaningful. Find the career that fits you at Missouri Department of Mental Health.
Apply today at dmh.mo.gov for meaningful work, increased pay, and great benefits.